What's going on, guys? Welcome to Willie's Wood Shop. Now today is the first day we're going to be filming alongside, following through one of these projects. Since it's the first time doing this, we're going to do something simple. We're going to make a cutting board. I'm going to use some of this extra walnut I have laying around. It's pretty rough right now, so we're going to be using a joiner and a planer and a table saw to build this project. And hopefully this is going to be the first of a lot of videos. I'm pretty new at woodworking, just built a couple things, so hopefully you guys have some feedback for me on how to do these projects more efficiently, and hopefully those of you that are just getting started, I can kind of teach you some things along the way too. So anyway, hope you enjoy. I hope you follow around with the rest of these videos and progress with me as I go. Thanks for watching.
Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take the walnut over to our chop saw. For this project, I cut them down to about 18 inches in length and cut about 10 to 15 strips of walnut. 18 inches is going to be the length and 10 to 15 strips is going to be the width. These don't have to be perfect because you're going to clean them up on the table saw at the end of the project, so leave yourself a little extra wood. Take those boards over to the joiner and smooth out one side. You want it to be really smooth because this is going to be the side that you're running against the fence of your table saw, and it's going to help keep your cuts really clean and help your board look straight and even. So I take those boards to the table saw, like I said, run that smooth side against the fence. I set my fence to a little over an inch here because I wanted my board to be an inch thick, and I left myself a little extra room because I'm going to be running this through the planer and want to have some material that I'm able to plane off at the end. So this is what I'm left with. I threw in that strip of walnut. You can see it the second from the top there. And that's going to give us some cool character in the board at the end. Then just using some Titebond 2, it's a water resistant glue, probably not the best glue to use here. I would use Titebond 3 because it's waterproof, but this is what I had. So throw it in the clamps. I threw this extra piece of wood in there, and that keeps the clamps from pinching down on the board and causing dents that you'd have to sand off or cut off later and decrease the width of your board. So those little dowels really help with that. Use as many clamps as you want here. I could have spread my clamps out a little bit more, probably would have come out a little better, but it worked out for this project. So then take the board over to the planer. We're going to plane it down, just get it really smooth in this step. It's not going to be the last time you run it through the planer, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to be smooth on the table saw when you're doing this step, which I just built this crosscut sled just using extra MDF I had laying around the shop. Then I drew that little ruler on it so that I could easily move the board over an inch at a time and cut this board down to inch strips. And then we'll take those strips and glue them up just like we did in the other glue up step. We're just going to alternate every other board to displace that walnut and give it that cool pattern. So like I said, just like the last glue up, we're going to do the same thing. Feel free to use as much glue as you want here and just wipe off the excess glue that you have. More glue the merrier. Same thing, throw those little wood strips in to protect the board and use as many clamps as you want. So take the board over to the planer again. This is going to be the final time going through the planer, so just take your planer down little increments at a time so you don't plane down too much and come out with a board that's too thin. But after this step, you pretty much have a finished smooth cutting board. Going to take the board over to the table saw and just clean up the edges. Now we're going to sand it down. You can go to your finest grit of sandpaper if you want this board to be really smooth. You can't sand it out, lots of sanding. Put this cool little edge on it, nothing too fancy, but I think it makes it look really nice. After that, use a food safe oil. I just picked this up from my local hardware store. It's a cutting board oil. And this really makes the colors pop. This is like my favorite step of the video. have it. That's how you build this cutting board. I think it came out really nice. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the links, and hope to see you on some of the next projects.